Hello, welcome to Artisan Realty training video. This video is made specifically for Artisan Realty real estate agents. It's also available on YouTube. Since you discovered it, you probably figured that out. Just want to throw a little caveat there that this is not legal advice. This is not real estate advice. If you're going to try to figure out how to list and sell your property, consult with a licensed broker, licensed real estate attorney. For that type of advice, you're more than welcome to watch this so you can get a sense of the intricacies involved in listing and selling real estate. No problem with that, and you'll get a sense of how Artisan Realty works. If you wanted to contact us at Artisan Realty, our phone number is 800-948-8018, and my email address is DANIELJBEIRNE@gmail.com. Hopefully you'll find this interesting and you'll get a sense of what we do. There's a lot of people who think you just go out and you sell a house and it's easy after that. That's the hard part is selling the house. Frankly, the work of a real estate agent begins when a house is sold and taken off the market. And you'll get a sense of that as we work our way through this. So again, this is back for the agents in our company for Zip Realty. So you're going to have a listing appointment. This is the listing process flow. Listing a property, residential property, generally Pennsylvania, Delaware, and New Jersey, our listing process flow for all three states. So you're going to list an appointment. You're going to get a listing call. I'm not going to get into a lot of detail on some of the stuff, but you'll get a quick sense of some of it. So, and we have a completely different training process and video for the listing appointment per se, and how to deal directly with the seller clients. So you're going to have a listing appointment, and at that time you're going to have inspected the property, done your research to figure out what the house is worth, presented that information to the seller, explained the benefits of working with our company. We are a sharp, cutting-edge real estate boutique who understands how real estate is marketed. Our expertise is in the internet marketing of real estate, which is a great company to work with if you're selling your property. So the things you're going to have signed at a listing appointment: a listing contract. A listing contract is going to be completely filled out by the agent before it's presented to the seller. Prior to signing the listing contract, their Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware state real estate laws require that we put a accounting breakdown of our costs and the charges we're going to make to our clients before asking them to sign a listing contract. So I had that backwards. Number one is you're going to put a closing cost estimate in front of them. Number two, you're going to have a listing contract. So on that listing contract, it's going to spell out the commissions being charged, the length of the contract. And then the things that I really want to stress right here is on page 4 of the listing contract, they're going to break down, they're going to ask questions: what are the mortgages on the property? What are the liens, judgments, things affecting the property? Is this a short sale? If it's a short sale, we're going to add on a listing contract short sale addendum. But where the problems show up are two parts. One is if the payoffs. So someone's going to ask a seller, what are the mortgages you have on the property? And we're going to get our pencil, we're going to write them down. But the seller hears what are the mortgages, but they got lost somewhere because in a lot of sales, there's other things that are also attached to the property that need to get paid off when the house is sold. Line of credit for business, equity loans, things like college loans that were borrowed as equity loans, which might be called the college loan or the car loan. So the real question you have to ask is, what are the loans that are leaned against this property? What do you, and you may have to have a further conversation, but don't miss that because that can be a surprise. And when the house is sold and you find out that the car loan, masquerading as an equity loan, also has to be paid off, that can throw some real turbulence into a real estate transaction. The other thing that you want to nail down at a listing contract is the things that are included and excluded in the house. I advise not just doing that at the table. I advise getting up and asking the sellers to walk through the house with you and point to the things that you know from your experience that are questionable, like things that may be attached, like the thing behind a flat screen TV that holds a flat screen TV on the wall. Technically, if that's not addressed, the flat screen TV, because of the way it's attached, should be part of the sale, and most sellers don't intend to include their flat screen TVs. But there's a whole list of things that we can get into in a different video. Okay, then the sellers are also going to be asked to fill out a seller disclosure. The purpose of the seller disclosure is for the sellers to try to give a true picture of what they know about the property to the new buyers of the property. It's not to be participated in by the real estate agent. There's a level of protection that comes from not participating in it. Basically, you don't want to touch it. You don't want to answer any questions. This is the seller's statement of what the condition of the property is. The sellers, if they don't know what's going on with the roof, the age of the roof, they can put "I don't know," "never found out." If they had a termite check recently, they can say "See Terminix." Information, all that kind of stuff too. So the sellers fill it out. Ideally, just leave it with the sellers and ask them to fill it out and pick it up at a different time. Do that consistently, and you've got some distance which you need from that seller's disclosure. When they hand it back to you and say it's all filled out, then you review it to see if it jives with your understanding of the basement of the house. I went straight to the basement because that's where the problems are. For example, if they say they never have any water in the basement and you saw water in the basement at your inspection, you have to confront them and ask them, why are you doing this? The biggest confusion with that seller's disclosure is sellers think that that's part of the marketing of the property. For example, if they give a glaring review of their property on the seller's disclosure, that will help the property sell. That's not the case at all. That's a defense from lawsuits in the future. They should disclose what they know. They should give an accurate and true picture of the condition of the property. If there's water in the basement, they should put water in the basement. It's a get out of jail free card from that point on because they've disclosed it. They can't be sued successfully because they had water in the basement moving forward. And then from the agent's point of view, the agent, once again, make sure it reflects the true condition of the property. And when a buyer makes an offer on the property, they're going to see the seller's disclosure first, and they're going to see the listing contract. They're never going to see the listing contract, but they'll see the seller disclosure first, then they'll sign a agreement of sale to purchase the property. There's a debate in the real estate community as to whether or not you should make the seller disclosure available at the house. I fall on the side that the seller disclosure is something that should be separate from the sale and marketing of the property. It's not a marketing device. It's a disclosure, which is something completely different with a different tool. At that point, too, you're going to ask the seller a series of questions. What are the mortgage payoffs on the property? Are they in arrears on any taxes? Are they subject to any lawsuits? Are they in divorce proceedings? Things that could make the transaction complicated. You also want to confirm at some point, I know it's kind of crazy, but you want to confirm that you're actually talking to the real owners of the property. There have been some fraudulent people selling properties they don't own. There's been situation where spouses have left. Other people pose as spouses. They sell the property out from under the real people. But you want to always keep your radar up and see what's going on. And of course, you want to, in a perfect world, you don't want to do this to your clients, but you can ask to see some ID. But if you have any funny feelings about you're not dealing with the right people, I think it's an appropriate time to say, hey, my broker expects me to check the IDs of every property that we list, and make sure you're talking to the sellers. It would be interesting to find out later that you sold a house that wasn't owned by the people you were talking to. So then you're going to prepare the house for marketing and for sale. I suggest that you don't immediately put it up for sale. The worst thing you can do for a seller is to put a house in the MLS with no photographs and no important information. You want to kind of take your time, put a marketing date out 7 or 10 days. You can put it in the MLS as active no-show, which basically tells people that, hey, there's a house coming at this address for sale. And you may hook some interested parties just from the address. But you certainly don't want it to go out to Zillow and Trulia and all the different websites out there, half-dressed, without photographs, without the right language, without the proper information. You want to have the photographs staged. You want to have it look pretty good. So you're going to take photos of the property. My little thought about photographs is the photographs shouldn't be too good. Those wide-angle lenses and fill-in flashes that make rooms look really good may get people to the house, but when they get there, I guarantee you they're going to be disappointed. They're going to say, I thought the house was bigger than this, and they're going to emotionally shut down and not buy the property. So you want accurate photographs. There's a place in the MLS for putting in measurements. I'm not a big fan of room measurements unless there's one unusually great sized room in the house, like a great room or an expanded family room or something like that. Put that in with the measurements, but I would not put the other measurements in. Otherwise, you're giving buyers opportunities to exclude this property based on the measurements. You just really want to put good information, not bad information. Let's see, so let's go to, you want to not take the lot size and real estate tax assessment at face value. You want to take a look at that, see if it makes sense. There's been lots of situations where deeds have been recorded, lot size have been diminished or added to, assessments have changed, and are not reflected in the public records. So that's a place where a good agent's going to do some investigation before they put it out there and say, this is a 2-acre lot, when in fact it's a 3-acre lot or maybe a 1-acre lot. So you have to make sure and ask the questions and look at the evidence the fences and the trees and how other neighbors are using properties to determine if there's any conflict in the way that it's being marketed. So you're going to take all this information, you're going to put it in the multiple listing service. In our marketplace, it's the Trend multiple listing service. It's not too easy to put things into the multiple listing service. Take a look at our video here at Artisan University about the back end of how to put that information in. And keep in mind all the time while you're doing that, that you're putting the house into the arena of choice on the internet. So the house is going to show up in relation to 20 or 30 other houses on a page. The first photograph is going to be very important. The language that's used is going to be very important. And you don't want to be too specific with the language. For example, if I was to put into the MLS, this house has a great stainless steel kitchen. That sounds like a great description of someone who might like stainless steel kitchen. So what about the 50% of people who don't want a stainless steel kitchen? You've actually deterred them from going to the property to take a look at it. So understand that the house is in competition. It's not standing by itself. It's in competition with other houses in the price range or in that zone, and you have to think about that when you're putting the information in. We have some other videos on our Artisan University which discuss that in greater detail. You can put the house in, as I mentioned, as active no-show, and then move it to active a little bit later. Active no-show is a place where you build up some momentum, some interest from people out there. The active no-show will say that the showings begin on 7 days from now, and people will align their schedules to all show up at the same time, which is exactly what you want to happen. Then you move it to fully active, and if it's fully active, then it's available and pushed out to all the websites. And it shouldn't be active unless the sellers are ready to have people come to their property right away. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to skip a lot of the marketing issues, which again are in other videos, but if you're listing a property, look for those at Artisan University. There's a whole lot of stuff about access and how the house should be prepared and staging and things like that. So let's skip right ahead to an offer coming in on the property. So an offer comes in on the property. It's my best advice that you sit down in person with the seller and discuss the offer rather than do it on the phone. It's too easy for a seller not to appreciate their bottom line to not have you relay the information they need to know to make a smart decision. At Artisan Realty, we don't see ourselves as salesmen as much. We see ourselves as helping people make good decisions, and to do that, we need to be face to face and we need to convey all the information properly. So the negotiation happens, and then if the deal is accepted, the house will move to active with an offer on Trend. That's the first place you move it on the MLS. And then second, when inspections are done or 3 or 4 days have passed, we're going to move it to pending, which tells everybody, hey, there's a contract on this property and most of the contingencies have been removed and it's essentially sold. If the seller wants the house to be shown even when it's sold, there is a procedure for that, and we can certainly talk about that. Okay, so then we've started a countdown where the buyers are going to make mortgage application, have a home inspection, have other inspections, radon, termite, things like that. And it's your job to represent the seller through those inspections and pay attention to all the important dates that are involved there. But more importantly, at this point, you're going to be involved in clearing title. So the buyers are going to order title insurance. You, as the listing agent, are going to get a copy sent to you of that title insurance policy, and that's going to inform you as to whether or not there's any additional mortgages, any funny liens, judgments, actions that are going to make it difficult for the seller to convey the property. So it's important. That's your job as a listing agent to get heavily involved in reviewing the title report, ideally with the broker, until you really get the hang of what you're looking for there. In addition to that, we're going to act as conveyancers. We're going to ask the title company to do this, or we're going to do it, but we're going to order payoffs for the seller as soon as we can. We're going to order tax certifications from the local municipalities because we're going to need that by settlement to prove that the taxes are up to date. We're going to order sewer, water, and trash certifications to prove that those things are paid. In Philadelphia, the water and natural gas through the gas company are lienable items, so we're going to need meter readings at the end for those so we can put them on the settlement sheet so the new buyer can start scratch. In the suburbs, generally, we don't need to order the suburbs, and in other states as well, we generally don't need to order or pay attention to the water and sewer. They're just billed through the municipality with whoever happens to own the property. If there's oil or propane on the property, we should instruct our sellers that they shouldn't be ordering new oil and propane because the cooking fuels and heating fuels that are left on the property are personal property, and they're not personal property. I'm sorry, they go with the property. So we want to make sure that they don't fill up their oil tank and then give that to the buyers without any compensation. We're going to be steadfast and negotiate on behalf of our seller all the way through the transaction, representing them through all the negotiations, keeping up on all the paperwork. We're going to be involved in scheduling the settlement with the title company. We're going to show up to at the settlement and be prepared to negotiate and explain the settlement sheet to the sellers. And we're going to be there when the sellers get their final check, which is what they paid us for. So that's pretty much, if you go through this as a process flow and you hear something that you didn't recognize or something that you didn't do, for example, paying attention to the payoffs or the water or sewer bills or things like that, hey, give me a call and we'll talk about what you need to do to be prepared for settlement. But this is just kind of a nice little quick checklist to make sure that you're prepared for a real estate settlement on behalf of an artisan seller. Great. Have a good day.